Hello, today I'm going to be talking about 5 signs you are lacking in self-love when it comes to dating and what to do about it. I am live here on Instagram, but if you are watching on YouTube, you are catching the replay. For those of you who are live, drop your city and state so I can give you a quick shout out. But we're going to be jumping right into this video. This is something that you definitely need to watch and make sure that you are not doing any of these things. All right. We're going to be talking about how a lack of self-love shows up when it comes to your dating life. And it comes through very subtle patterns. It comes through habits and decisions. And a lot of times we don't even know we're doing it. And it's rooted in a sense or a fear of unworthiness. All right, we've got some love coming in from DC. Very nice to see you. I will shout out the first 5 people who dropped their city. And then we're going to go right into it. But paying attention to these things, these are signs that you're lacking in self-love. And if you recognize any of these signs as I go through, it doesn't mean that you're broken, okay? All is not hopeless. You're not broken. It means that you are human and you have probably been taught to perform instead of just rest, okay? So as a woman, you should be in your feminine energy. You should not be performing. Masculine performs, feminine exists, okay? I just had a client today and she was explaining how she realized that she feels the need to have utility and be useful and serve a purpose. And I said, this is a great opportunity to just embrace feminine energy and how amazing it is that we don't have to perform. We don't have to go out and prove. We just have to be, which is why it's so important that we do the work, because what we're offering is our energy. We want to make sure it's healed and whole, okay? So if I step on any of your toes with any of these 5 things, feel free to comment oof, okay? And I'll know that you are seen. You can know that you're seen. I want you to feel like you are very clear. I want you to walk away from this video feeling empowered and having really tangible mindset shifts that you can apply right away. All right, so without further ado, 5 signs that you are lacking self-love in dating. The very first one, okay, this is like the biggest one. We start here when I'm doing coaching, is you accept hot and cold behavior. Now you notice that I said accept. The verb is accept. I teach all my students that as a feminine woman, think of yourself as a door on a hinge. A door on a hinge can only do 2 things. It can open up and accept. It can close and reject. So I don't let women talk from a sense of being a victim, being powerless. We have a lot of power. It is a lot of times it is not recessive. What is the word? It is passive. Our power is power, I guess, and receptive. We can receive and accept what we are given, or we can reject and turn it away. Okay, we're not making a lot of things happen proactively. We are responding to what's happening. And so if what is happening is he's giving us inconsistent behavior, we reject. We don't accept this. So what does this look like, inconsistent behavior? He's texting you every day for a week. And then he disappears 3 days, no explanation, and then pops up with the old, hey, stranger. And then you respond right away because you're like excited to hear from him. Wow, I haven't talked to him in a while and I'd love to see what he's been up to. This is a sign of not having self-love, okay? Somebody in that position is going to justify his behavior and say things like, well, maybe he's just busy. Maybe he's scared of his feelings. He's catching feelings and it's making him nervous and he's questioning things. Maybe he just came out of a bad relationship and he's scared about committing. We don't make excuses. We don't justify behaviors. Hello, Falaka, good to see you. We don't justify inconsistent behavior. I say if it's gray, walk away. You should not be confused when it comes to a man. You should be very, very clear. So the old mindset is justifying his behavior, making excuses because you're just so excited to have him. The new mindset that that is what you're going to have when you have self-love is to say, if it is not consistent, it is not chemistry. It's not real chemistry. This is confusion. Okay? Comment, oof, if you have ever justified a man's behavior or made excuses for him in your mind so that you could continue to talk to him. Self-love says, I don't crave chaos. I choose calm. And I did a post the other day that really resonated with people, and I was explaining that the way we are wired as feminine women is our nervous system is completely disrupted when we don't feel safe. Comment safe if that's the number one thing you need. That's the number one thing I need. Everything comes to feeling safe. Even feeling loved. At first I said, oh, I want to feel loved. That's the most important thing I need to feel. But then I realized when I feel loved, I feel safe. So comment the word safe if that is your highest need. Okay? So when a man is inconsistent, you don't know what to expect. And part of masculine energy is supportive. Supportive like a chair. And imagine if you go to sit on a chair and that thing is real rickety, and every now and then again, something pops and the chair breaks, right? You're not going to feel comfortable plopping down into that chair because that chair has not been proven to be sturdy enough to hold you and keep you safe. And so no matter what you tell yourself, your nervous system as a woman is going to be messed up. You are going to feel agitated. You are going to feel distracted. You are going to feel unloved. You are not going to be okay when you don't feel safe. So showing love to yourself is saying, I will not accept a man who is not consistent. He has to be consistent or I'm out of there, okay? If you're just tuning in, we're doing 5 signs that you are lacking self-love in dating. Number 2, and this is huge. Number 2, you are investing more than the guy, okay? Now you might say, well, you know, I know men want reciprocity and I don't want to just be a bump on the log. Don't conflate those two things, okay? One, even in reciprocity, you should never be investing more. That is you leading with investment, okay? You're leading in the investment area. You want to reciprocate, but we don't reciprocate in kind. We reciprocate with our energy, okay? So he takes you out on dates, doesn't mean you need to take him on a date. He buys you a gift, doesn't mean you buy him a gift. You respond with energy. And in my course, we break down what does that look like showing up with energy. But your feminine energy is a gift and men love it, okay? They're never gonna say, oh, you're not giving me enough. They love it, okay? I literally described this woman, you know, for the men, if you guys know I have a men's page, and I said, what would you do if a woman showed up in this way? And I just described energy, positive energy. And they were like, that's a unicorn. She doesn't exist. They are very, 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 very happy to just have your energy, okay? That's what men, they have most of the stuff they need, but they cannot on their own get feminine energy, okay? So don't undervalue how important feminine energy is. But getting back to number 2, you're investing more than he does. What this looks like is you are texting first. Okay, we got our first oof. You are texting first. You're the one planning dates. Or maybe you're not straight up saying, I'm inviting you out to ice cream. But maybe you're hinting, oh, this new ice cream spot opened up and it seems really cool. They make the ice cream right in front of you. I've always wanted to go to this place. Right? Maybe you're indirectly nudging him and it's very overt, okay? Maybe you're sending him encouraging messages throughout the day. Maybe you are sending him reels that you find are funny and he's just really half-hearted on his end. You feel yourself trying to impress him. If I can show up in the great way that I need to, he will then choose me. You are out of alignment. You are not resting in your feminine energy. You are not in a healed place, okay? This is not a place of self-love. So number 2, if you're investing more than that guy, and what's happening is your mind is telling you, if I do more, then maybe he'll finally see my worth. Maybe if I perform enough, if I get enough points, I'll get a doggy treat. No, that's not how it works. A man decides if he finds you worthwhile or not. And you, I'm getting into a whole nother point, you need to be patient enough to wait for a man who sees your worth. Okay? Men don't determine your worth, but only some men see your worth, and you have to be patient enough to wait until that man comes along. If my house is worth $1 million, but people keep offering me $500, they're not determining the worth of my house. It's my job to hold out until I get what I want, what I know I deserve. Okay? So here's the shift if you have self-love and you say, real love doesn't need to be earned. I attract, I don't audition. Okay? So if any of you have been guilty of investing more than a man, comment oof. Let me know that you are seen, or I want you to know you're seen. Okay? I have done this. I always say I know this stuff. So I know this stuff because I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and not proud of it. But that's why. I'm not here from a place of judgment. I'm here because I have gone through and I know what it looks like. So number 2, you should not be investing more than he does. And this kind of goes along with number 2. You're always the one initiating. If you stopped texting, you have a pretty good idea that the conversation would die off. If you stopped asking him out on dates, you're pretty sure he wouldn't ask you out. Okay? If you stopped inviting yourself to see him, he probably wouldn't ask to see you. You know in the back of your mind that you're keeping the conversation alive, and it doesn't feel good though. If you're operating in this way, you're operating in a mindset of, if I don't reach out, I'll lose him. And this falls in line with the performance thing. You should not have to perform to feel safe, to feel secure, to have him be consistent. So if this is you, you want to shift your mindset into self-love that says, if I have to carry it all, it's not mutual. And I'm going to allow space for him to for him to lead, ironically. And if he doesn't, I'll let him leave, right? I'll let him have enough space to lead. And if he doesn't, I learn what I need to know. So giving him space is not being the first one to text all the time, not constantly bringing things up about that you want to go see, not always sharing without him asking when you're available. Allow him to step up and pursue. A man wants to chase. He wants to hunt. They don't like the word chase. A man wants to pursue. He enjoys pursuing. They say chase sounds like she doesn't want to be caught. But think of all the sports that men do. You know, there's hunting, there's fishing, trying to go after something. They really enjoy that. So you're actually hurting a guy when you don't allow him to have that process. Okay? And the guy who doesn't value you, you're making it super easy for him to get whatever he wants. Okay? All right. Has anyone felt seen so far? If so, comment oof. And you can know that you're not alone. You're here amongst your peers. We're going to get into number 4. Number 4, you are a shapeshifter. You shapeshift into what he wants. Have you ever done that? He's into this type of music, so suddenly you're into this type of music. He likes this vibe, so suddenly you're into this vibe. He says, you know, oh, I don't like girls who are super emotional, and you're really emotional. But now you're just trying to hold yourself back. You're holding back tears. You're fighting, showing the real you. You pretend to like sports. You pretend to be into the rodeo. Or you minimize your needs because you don't want to seem like you're not easygoing. You want to seem like you're low maintenance. And while you don't want to be high maintenance where, you know, it's exhausting being with you, you also don't want to be in denial and act like you don't have needs. We all have different needs. I was working with a client today and we were listing out what she does and does not want to feel in her relationship. She cannot pretend that those things don't exist. And if you are with a guy who makes you feel like you want too much and you are too much, well, guess what? You're too much for him. Bloop. When a man is truly into you, it is his pleasure and honor and desire to make you happy. I'm not talking about you're at a deficit and you have no happiness in your life and now he adds it and boom, you have happiness. What I am talking about is he is going to want to maintain that happiness. He's not going to want to detract from your happiness. He's going to want to only add to. Okay? As my guy says, making you feel loved is the goal. It is not going to feel like a burden for him if you're showing up in a feminine, gracious way and just expressing your needs. He's going to be happy. He's going to be happy to show up. So if number 4, if you are shape-shifting into what a guy wants you to be, you are in an unhealthy space and there's a little bit of room for growth, a little bit of room for self-love. Okay? If you're just tuning in, we're going over 5 signs you're lacking self-love in dating. So your old mindset might be, if I'm too much, I'll scare him away. But a self-love mindset says, if I can't show up fully, I'm not being loved. I'm just being tolerated. And I'm not going to shrink to be small in someone else's world. Okay? All right, we're already at number 5. Number 5, and I see this one a lot. Number 5 sign that you are lacking self-love in dating is that you confuse attention with pursuit. All attention is not good attention. And I use the example all the time about driving in a car and seeing an accident on the side of the road. We typically, human nature, we pay attention to the accident. We are not concerned enough to get out and help that person. That means that we are invested in that person. We're not just satisfying an itch. So you might be confused and go, why is a guy dealing with me if he's not into me like that? Because you're satisfying an itch of some sort. You're eye candy. You're someone to talk to. You're something to do when he's bored. You're giving him the cookie. Hello, he's getting that. Okay? So if this guy is doing little things, showing you attention, like he compliments you on your pictures, he sends you flirty messages, he FaceTimes you late at night during booty call hours, but when it's time to actually show up and take you out on a real date and invest in you and get to know you, he's nowhere to be found. So if you lack self-love, you're going to say, well, at least he's showing interest. You're going to be one of the girls who slides by DM and says, but he's liking my stories. Well, he's still showing up. He's still sending me messages. Unacceptable. Unacceptable what he's doing. And self-love says attention isn't the same as intention. And I don't settle for sparks with no fire. It's just like little embers flying out. You know, you're at the campfire and little pieces are just flying out. Am I making sense, y'all? Are you following along? Y'all real quiet today. I don't settle for sparks without the fire. You want the fire that is burning, because when you are with a man who is showing up consistently, he is investing in you, he's spending quality time, he is concerned with your well-being, you feel secure and you feel safe, which is super duper important, which is what you need to feel. Okay? So those are 5 signs that you're lacking self-love when it comes to dating. I want you to pay attention, and when you are sizing up a guy, I want you to pay attention and see, is this potential that I'm falling in love with? Am I getting a glimpse of what he could be? Let's say if he's healed, right? He gets healed from that trauma. Or if he were just getting more serious with me, because right now he just wants to go with the flow. Or maybe if he would just try a little bit harder. Or how about this one? If he would just leave his wife. Right? You're thinking about the potential of what he could be, but you're not dealing with what he actually is. And as women, we don't have the liberty, or the luxury, I should say, of being with a man for his potential. It's one thing if you say, I see that he's got the basic bones, you know, and we could work with this, or he's on a trajectory. It's more like he's on a trajectory to do this. You know, he's not an attorney yet, but he's getting his degree, and he's he's going to get his license next year, and he has a mentor already. Like, that's someone on their trajectory. But potential is just, glimpses of what he could be if, but he's not already working on it. Okay? He's not even in therapy. He has no plans of getting serious. He's just where he is, but you're looking at him like, oh, but this could be. You are fantasizing, you are romanticizing, and being creative and imagining what is not there is feminine. It's creative, but it's toxic in this way, right? If you're using it to imagine what a relationship could be, that is very unhealthy, and we don't want to be imagining that way. Okay? You might be saying, well, I see the good in him, and he could one day be this. Self-love says, I don't date potential, I date what is present. I'm not going to build a man. I'm choosing one who is already ready. And trust me, there are little things here and there that you're going to have to work with your guy on, same as he's going to work with you. But fundamentally, he should have the basics down. Okay? So let me know if any of these felt personal. Let me know. Pay attention as you're dating to see if you catch yourself over functioning and then undervaluing your worth. Hey, Alicia, good to see you. Now, I'm going to answer a couple of questions that have been previously submitted, but if anyone wants to submit a question while I'm on the live stream, go ahead and press the little plus sign. If you are watching this video on the replay, I apologize, you cannot submit a question. You'll have to catch a live stream on Instagram. But if you have a question, hit the little plus sign and it'll put the question in the queue. And for now, I'm going to go over some of these questions. If you recognized yourself, if these 5 things resonated with you, maybe you had all 5, maybe you just had 1 or 2, this is a good thing because that means it's a wake-up call. You recognize that there is a room to grow, okay? And this is your invitation to shift your mindset. Mindset is everything. That is why the very first lesson in my course is all about mindset. Women always say, I want to understand men and I want to know why they do this and this and this. But the reality is, most women have a flawed foundation. And it doesn't matter if I brought you the dopest man. It's like trying to build the dopest multi-million-dollar house and it's on a shaky foundation. We got to get that foundation right. And that foundation is based on your mindset. Okay? So I'm going to get into these questions. Like I said, if you have any, use a little plus sign to add yours. But if you are ready to stop dating from a flawed mindset, from a place of lack, if you want to finally feel secure and powerful and feel like you are pursued completely to where you're not stressing about these little things we're talking about, I invite you to book a discovery call, which is basically just a free consultation to have a one-on-one talk with me. It's a live call, and we'll go over what my 8-week coaching program is all about, and we'll help you decide if it's a good fit for you, okay? All right, so let's get into my questions. Okay, first question is, and I do see the ones that are coming in. Number 1, she said, what do I do, or what if I do love myself? Why am I still attracting inconsistent men? So maybe you're watching this and you're like, I feel like I love myself. I don't feel like I have a problem there, but I'm still getting men who are inconsistent. Well, here's the thing. Love isn't a feeling, right? It's not just a feeling like I feel like I like myself. The way that you know that you love is based on your standards, your boundaries, and your reactions to what men do. In my course, the very first week, we go over what your boundaries should look like. A lot of people don't even have it listed. They don't know what they are. They're just kind of going with the flow. And if you go with the flow, you're more likely to accept whatever. But you want to get your standards and boundaries and preferences and all that and your deal breakers. You want to know them ahead of time, because what happens is you meet a guy who's fine. His beard connects. He has side teeth. He's well-spoken. And now you're like, maybe I could have more kids. No one good and doggone well you don't want more kids, okay? So it's important for you to have this mapped out beforehand. So you might be feeling like you are confident, especially when it comes to work, friendships and appearance, your personal appearance. But when it comes to relationships, this is where it shows you any cracks that are there. These will trigger your deepest layers of self-worth, what you truly believe about yourself. And so if you keep attracting inconsistent men, and when they show up, you give them a pass and they stay around, meaning you're allowing him to stay around, then you need to question whether your actions actually match what you think your self-love level is. Does that make sense? So someone could show up and be inconsistent, and someone who has self-love will say goodbye. No, if it's gray, I'm walking away. Someone who does not is going to do the things that we saw in the video, okay? So attraction is not what matters. It's if you are still entertaining. I love that, Alicia. Thank you. She said, ladies, Yancey's dating course was a game changer for me. Sign up for the course. I love that. And she in love. She got a man. He's consistent. He showed up and was like, yes, 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 yes. This is what I want. So many girls from my course have love. The one I coached today, she's in a relationship. She just got asked to be his lady last week. She was referred from another woman who went through my course. She is booed up and they're already ring shopping. Okay. And they just met in October. So y'all, if you want to figure out what's happening, sometimes it's on your side of the fence that, what needs to be worked on. Okay. It's not hopeless, but sometimes we got a little gardening to do on our side. Okay, the second question that I was given, how do I stop overgiving when I genuinely like doing things for people? If you're a feminine woman, you're very nurturing, you're very giving, right? You just can't wait to love. I remember this meme, and it was two people coming down an escalator, and on first glance, it looked really violent. It was a guy holding this long, paddle or something looking like, right? And he's going like this over this poor person below who has no idea what's about to come. But if you actually look at the writing on the paddle, it said, all my love. And I cracked up. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so me. When I was single, it was like, I'm just ready to give all my love. So what's happening is, the answer is, there's nothing wrong with being generous, love. The question is, are you giving because you truly want to give? That's just in your heart. Or are you giving hoping to earn his love, hoping this will make him stay? I'm really not ready to have sex with him, but I'm going to sleep with him because I'm hoping that he's going to stick around. I'm really not comfortable paying for my own flight, but I really want him to see that I'm easy breezy. So if you're doing things because you're fearful of what the alternative could be, that's not the place to give from. You give from overflow, okay? So you pause before you do something and say, is this rooted in joy? And I'm overflowing, so I just have to give out of my excess. Or is this coming from a place of anxiety? These are good questions, by the way. Okay, number 3. What if I express my needs to a guy and then he pulls away? Baby girl, you just dodged a bullet. You just dodged a bullet. A guy who backs off after you express your needs was never going to meet them. As I mentioned before, a masculine man shows up and he's actually grateful when a woman knows what she wants, because now you're giving him the blueprint. He wants to please you. This makes him feel satisfied. They like being a knight in shining armor. So if you show up and you say, hey, I really love when this happens, or I really love feeling this way, he's going to go into overdrive figuring out, how do I make her feel this way? How do I show up in this way? Okay. So if you don't even feel comfortable bringing something up, that's a pretty good indication just right there. But if you bring it up and he bounces, hello, trash took itself out. Okay, we got, 3 more questions. Number 4, can I be feminine and still be a strong, independent woman? I love this question because a lot of times I feel that femininity is described in a way that almost sounds like you're a doormat. You're just like, oh, I'm here, whatever you want to do. I'm submissive. But the thing is that femininity is not weakness. Femininity is wisdom. It's like the difference between brute force and someone forcing their way into the door versus somebody who figures out how to get the door to open on its own, or how to get the person to open up the door. It's like a person who, rushes into a house by force and steals versus the person who shows up, creates a product, and sells something that the homeowner actually wants and willingly gives their money away. It's very powerful. It's just a different type of power than masculine energy. Feminine energy is about being soft. It's having the power to receive, right? It can be difficult if you're not the one who feels like they're in charge necessarily and you're receiving. Again, talked to a client today and she's realized that she's always showing up and giving, and it's almost uncomfortable to be on the receiving end, like almost 100%. It is having confidence enough that you can just trust rather than having to chase, having to do, have to force. And, you know, you can do a lot of things and still be feminine. You could have your career, your goals, your own voice. It's actually better that you do. Be a whole person, but still let the man lead when it comes to the relationship. Let him lead with love, okay? Love yourself enough to receive and not feel guilty about it. Number 5, what is the difference between a standard and a wall? And I can tell you, there are a lot of women who have walls up a mile high, okay? When you have a standard, it comes from a place of self-love. It's the same thing with that giving thing. Trace it back, see where it's coming from. Standards come from self-love. I love myself enough that I am not going to allow this, or I'm going to wait until I get this to move forward. A wall comes from fear. I'm trying to protect myself because I'm afraid, versus I'm going to protect myself from things that are not deserving of me. Okay, so standard says, I know what I need to thrive. I know what I need to feel to be the best of myself. The walls say, I'm just shutting everyone and everything out because I've been hurt before and I don't want that to happen. And the sad thing about that is when you have walls, you're going to scare off people who are genuinely interested. Working with a client who really struggles with how she's feeling inside, but the way it comes out is being cold, not being, very transparent, not being vulnerable, not being affectionate, not being playful and fun and complimentary. Not because she's a not nice person, just because she's got so much going on in her head and she's constantly wondering how she's showing up in the world. So the walls will actually do more harm. Having standards will allow you to have the same end result. You'll be protected without keeping everything out. It's like having a screen door. You want the breeze to come in. You just don't want the bugs and the rodents and God knows whatever else to come in. As opposed to shutting the door and you miss the breeze, but you also keep everything else out. Okay? Number 6, I feel like it's too late for me. I've been this way for decades. It is never too late to change a pattern. Okay? The moment you become aware that you don't want to be where you are, you now have the power to shift. Okay? So don't let that defeatist attitude take over and say, I'm this old, I'm whatever, I've been doing this, I've seen my mom and her mom be this way. No. I've helped women who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s. I even had clients in their 60s join my course, and they are making major transformations. Please do not let the enemy discourage you and make you feel like it's too late for you. Now, you're not changing who you are. This is not about, faking it and being someone else. I don't need little Yancey's running around. But it's about reclaiming who you truly are. You're actually not living in your truth right now. We're going to be stripping away the stuff that is keeping you back. It's like exfoliating. That wasn't the real you, dull, dry skin. The real you is the shiny, healthy, vibrant skin underneath, but we had to get rid of what was keeping us from seeing that. Does that make sense? Okay? So we want to make sure we get rid of fear, confusion, and especially over effort, giving over effort. You're overdoing it, trying to overcompensate because of how you're feeling. Okay. I've got one more question to answer that we've got here. Hopefully she's still watching. You guys, if you missed the beginning of this live stream, I went over 5 signs you're lacking self-love and dating. It will be posted on my YouTube channel. Excuse me, either tonight or tomorrow. I haven't decided which I'm going to do. And you'll be able to see the link in my story. Either way, I'm going to have a link for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and make sure you subscribe and then turn on the notification bell so you'll be notified when new stuff comes out. And we do a live stream every Thursday with the men from my men's page. So if you haven't caught that before, you are missing out. All right, but let me get to this last question that was submitted live. She said, he's getting himself together. He doesn't have a place he wants to get. He doesn't have a place. He wants to get that. Oh, and then he could be all in. So, oh man, I don't know if she's still on here, but I need more. You gave me facts, but I do need the question. I do need the question that you want me to answer. So I hope that the woman who submitted this is still on here. And I'm assuming that there is a question. I did a video, it's actually going viral on live stream, talking about beware of the man who isn't financially secure where he wants to be or what have you. A lot of times, and this is completely without judgment, a masculine man is very focused and he has priorities. He's not like us, the feminine, who leads with love. Like, oh, I just want love, and we're idealistic, and they're very aware that they need to be the foundation. They need to be sturdy. They need to be like a chair. And so if they're still building the chair, they're not going to feel like they can show up and fully be present in the way that you need and in a way that makes them feel good. The closest equivalent I can compare it to is if you're undergoing a transformation and, you know, maybe your body's out of whack because, I don't know, maybe you had an injury and you couldn't work out for a while. And so you really want to get in shape so you can show up as your best self. And then you'll feel so much more confident and you want the lights on and things like that. And so the man wants to feel like he's in a place where he can do. Dating is expensive. Starting a family is very expensive, you know, and if you do get married, you got to pay for a wedding and all this stuff. So it's a lot. So a lot of times guys who are not in that place are not going to be ready for a relationship because they're literally not ready. You said he doesn't have a place, but did you have a question, my love? Did you have a question that you wanted me to answer? I saw the description. This is a guy who doesn't have a place, but he's getting himself together. So let me know if you have a question. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this, and then it will be available on YouTube either tonight or tomorrow. If you enjoyed the live stream, can you comment, place a heart, tap the heart, or you can leave me a comment. She said, can we work if he doesn't have a place? Not I love myself. Here's the thing. He said, once I do XYZ, he's got to be all in. So that means he's not all in right now. The best thing you could do if a man is not saying, I am ready for the relationship, as hard as it is to move on with your life. This is not out of spite. You're not being angry. You're just busying yourself with the things that you're passionate about. And who knows, maybe this isn't your person and you meet someone in the meantime, or you continue about your day. And then when time rolls around that he's ready, he knows where to find you. But if the man himself is saying, I can't be all in until, he's literally telling you, I can't be all in right now. So you don't put your life on hold. You don't wait around. That's where resentment comes from. Allow that man to focus on what he needs to do without distraction if that's what he's saying that he wants. Okay? Someone else said, we have 9 years together. How do I date seeing that my ex wants us to go out? I am not interested in him. How to date seeing that my ex wants us to go out? I'm not interested. So I'm hearing, I'm not interested in this. I don't want to do this. Someone else wants something. What am I missing? What I'm missing is, what does your ex, someone you're no longer in a relationship with, have to do with you dating? And I apologize if I speak very frankly. I'm not trying to be flippant or funny. I really am missing that piece. Too many times as women, we feel like we have no power. We're just sitting in a driver's seat in sitting in the passenger seat of a man's world, and you just, well, this is where we're going. We're going north. Okay, we're going. No, you have pedals. You have pedals down there by your feet. They're not gas pedals though, because that's the masculine. You have brake pedals. You can slow the vehicle down or get out. He's your ex, so it sounds like you got out of the vehicle. So if you're out of the vehicle, what does it matter what the driver of that car wants? You are no longer in that vehicle with that car. So help me understand, what am I missing? What is keeping you from dating, as you say? All right, y'all, if you get your question in before I go, let me know. That's okay. Take your time and ask your question. If you want to come on the live stream, if you're comfortable, you can come on and ask your question. If you don't want to be on camera, you can hit the video button on the screen and it'll make your profile picture show instead of your face. If you are unable to, I know there's limited characters on that. If you're just tuning in, I just finished my live stream, 5 Signs You're Lacking Self-Love in Dating. I'll be posting it on my YouTube page. But for now, I am answering questions that are being asked in real time. If you want to submit a question, you can hit the little plus sign down below and add your question to the question queue. I am just waiting for the most recent person to give me more context to her question. But please let me know. It'd probably be easier if you just, like I said, jump in the live stream. If that's the case, you can hit the plus sign and say, request to join, and then I can answer your question. If I don't hear back soon, though, I'm going to wrap so we don't just keep people holding. Okay. While I have you guys here, I'll give her about 2 more seconds. If this is your first time, I see a lot of brand new names. If this is your very first time catching a live stream, comment newbie. If this is not your first live stream, comment OG, and I can shout you out. Want to see how many newbies we have? There are a couple of things that you may not know if you have not been following my page for very long, or maybe you don't visit it often. But there are a couple of things that I have created for the women to do that have been very successful. Okay. Oh, Zen Diamond says OG. Yes, I did recognize your name. There's something called the singles feature, and we have actually had 2 women not only get engaged, but one of them is actually getting married next month. She sent me her wedding invitation. She's getting married next month. Look at all these OGs. Shout out to Kaylee. Neliggs says OG. And Lynn, hey girl. She's in one of my groups and she is a rock star. Shout out to you, Lynn. But I have a singles feature, and all this is basically getting posted on the men's page. I have a page that is just men. Oh no, Kaylee. It's just men, and they can see the post of the women, and you can see their stats, like how tall they are, what state they live in, whether or not they're willing to relocate. And so we have had a couple of people get in relationships. 2 have gone so far as to get engaged, and 1 is already set the date, and they're about to get married next month, as I mentioned. So we have that. We also have the singles database, which is where you are just permanently in there, and anybody can search under your stats basically and find you, versus the singles feature, which is you're posted on the feed and on the men's page, and then you're added to a dedicated story. What else do we have? I've got an 8-week coaching program. If you feel like, oh my God, there's so much I don't know, and I just want a fully intense program where someone walks me through, I have what's called the dating manual. I also do one-on-one coaching. If you want to just talk with me directly, we do it on Zoom, and it's 50 minutes at a time. And I've got some classes. I hardly ever advertise them, but I have classes that I recorded before, and you could just watch them one by one. But those are the main things. Oh, I left off Patreon. I have a subscriber page, and that's where I put all the answers, all the tea from the men's page. So every day, Monday through Friday, I ask them a question like, why do you like a story when you don't want to be with the woman? Or why do you circle back after ending things with her? What can women do who have really high profile jobs? What can they do to be more attractive in dating? And so we take all their raw answers and redact their names, and then I post them every day, Monday through Friday, on Patreon for my subscribers. So check that out. You can see all that stuff in my story or linked in my bio. I think I have given her enough time to add, and she has not, or joined the page. So unfortunately, I just might get, oh, no, it just popped in. Okay. We were together for 9 years. Oh, we have a 9-year-old together. Wow, I was not reading that right. And have a 9-year-old. He wants to try again. I don't want to. He cheated I'm assuming 5 years ago, and had a child. How do I date given that issue? Well, frankly, like I said, without trying to be funny or flippant, it's not an issue. That's just his desire. He had something good, he messed up, and now he wants it. You can have a boundary, and that's okay. We don't have to give a man everything that he wants, even if we have a kid together. Having a child together does not mean that you need to be with somebody. It's ideal. You would love to have both parents in the home. But here's the thing. If your nervous system is a wreck being with somebody, you're not going to be in a good position as a parent. You are going to be crying. You are going to be stressed out. You are going to be showing up in a way that is not healthy. You are going to, if you get really frustrated, you might be yelling and just doing things that are outside of your character. And if you don't lash out, you're going to just be holding everything inside and you're going to be so tense and so stressed. It could lead to physical illness. Okay. I was so stressed out in my marriage that I started to have like a nervous breakdown, and physically I started to have symptoms. So I don't see this as a problem. I don't see this as an issue. I see this as an ex wants something. Well, oh well, I want $1 million, but where is it? So they can want all they want. We cannot let men dictate what happens in our lives. This is a place that they have to earn. They have to earn being in our life. They have to earn our loyalty. And he hasn't. He's broken your trust. He hasn't earned your loyalty. He's lost it. So stop being loyal to someone who isn't yours. You're not his. A lot of women are loyal to situationships, for example. That's not your man. You might say, well, he gets mad if I see other people. And if he wants you to act a certain way, well, he needs you to make him yours. He needs to be in a relationship. They can say what they want all day long, but it's neither here nor there if you don't opt in. So what I want you to take away, because that was the last question I saw, what I want you to take away from this is you have power. And you are the only person who can make sure that your self-love tank is filled to the top. You can only show up in the best way possible if your love tank is full. And you can only receive love properly if your love tank is full. Because you will either sabotage or you will allow someone to come in who is not deserving and they will hurt you. Okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be posting it on YouTube. I enjoyed spending time with you guys. Like I said, on Thursday, for those watching on YouTube, that'll be tomorrow for you. But Thursday night, we go live with the men of Youngster Nation and we go over the answers that they gave. And you can ask stuff in real time. You can even join on the panel. It's a lot of fun. So check it out. My channel is Chasing Yancy. Just type that in, just like my name here. And you guys can check that out every Thursday night at 7 o'clock Central, which is 8 Eastern. And those of you who want to watch the replay, check my story for more information. Have a beautiful evening, you guys.